Now by the legendary Hall of Fame trainer. He's always in the mix this Saturday in Maine. He's the great Bob Baffert. He's with us here on Tiki and Tierney. Bob, how are you, man? Everything okay?
Fine, thanks. We're just left the barn. We're just going to go have a little breakfast. Got Oaks Day today. Have a few running, and so we're just slowly. The town last night started to come to life.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday, so people are coming in. Quite a show.
No question. It is the show. First Saturday in May, of course, and this is the 142nd running. When you go to the barn the day before the race, with your experience, I know they're not humans, so you can't actually ask them if they're ready to compete, but can you get a sense of how they're going to perform based on their body language, if you will, and just how they are in the barn?
Well, I mean, the way they work, the way they're going, I usually get a feel for them when I put the saddle on them.
Okay. Okay.
That's when I get a feel. I can tell if they have the energy they have, how they, if they're a little bit, there's been times where I lead them up there and they'll be in the paddock, they'll have their head down and they'll look a little flat. If they look a little flat, that's not a good sign. That means, then I start worrying a bit like, oh, he's not really into it today. But usually they're pretty sharp. And my horse, he looked good today.
Yeah, it's funny when I think about this, Bob, because as a former football player, I think about how when you had those days, someone else would get you jacked up or hyped up. Is that the jockey's job? If your horse happens to be, I don't know, moseying around, is it on Gary Stevens, especially if it's race day at the Kentucky Derby? Is it on him, or do you just kind of have to see how it goes?
No, it's usually on me. If he's really ready, sharp, ready to go, he'll fire his race. Gary Stevens' job will be to just do, guide him around there, get him out of the gate. Make sure he breaks well, get in position early, get him to relax, and then push the button and hope that the button doesn't stick. So there's so much involved in it, but I've really done my part. We just play the waiting game now and lead him up there tomorrow.
That's all you could do, right? Talking to the great Bob Baffert with us here on Tiki and Tierney, CBS Sports Radio, 12-1 odds. Of course, Mor Spirit getting ready to run tomorrow, trained by Gary, as Tiki mentioned.
Bob, tell us about Mor Spirit. Obviously, not the favorite in this race, but what can you tell us about him as a horse?
Well, he's a horse that he's really competitive. He runs every time. He's first or second. And last race was like in the mud, and he was really, it took a lot of mud. He didn't like it, and he still managed to run second. But he got beat by a nice horse, Exaggerator, and the California horses seem to be the better horses this year for some reason. They've been going around winning, and so it's like almost like the NBA, the Western Conference. They seem to be the strongest.
Ah, it's a good analogy. There you go. Talking little hoops here. Bob Baffert with us on Tiki and Tierney. We can't talk to you, Bob, without referencing what was just an amazing year last year. I mean, even the fringe fan of horse racing was sucked into a story that rarely happens. What was your ride like? We know the ride we were taking on. What was it like for you with American Pharaoh?
Well, I mean, it was. It seemed like it went by so fast. It was so enjoyable. We were dealing with a horse that was almost had supernatural powers and made my job so much easier. And I remember, the day before we were thinking about, how he was doing. There was a lot of stress, nervousness, because I knew I had two really good horses last year at the Derby, and I was in a position where I didn't know, this is my chance. Will I ever win another Kentucky Derby? They're so hard to get here. And then, so I felt like I didn't want to blow it. I knew I had the horses to do it with. And once we won the Derby, it was like, I was so relieved. I was so happy because the Kentucky Derby, it's the best one. It's my favorite. And so now going in this year, it's sort of, we have a little bit of a American Pharaoh hangover from last year. And but it all starts new. And so whoever gets crowned on Saturday, then we follow that show again. So hopefully it'll be us.
It's interesting you talk about American Pharoah being superhuman because I hear that out in stud he's being superhuman as well. I mean, when you think about the life of these horses, and especially after 37 years winning the Triple Crown and being lauded as one of the great athletes, not just human, but athletes of all time. I mean, that's got to be the fulfilling thing. And then you think downstream, this horse has rewarded a lot of people financially, I'm sure, but also himself, he's going to do well with his own success.
Yeah, he's that horse is just he's still, it's something, when it's 37 years in the making. And to do what he did, and hopefully his offspring, maybe one or two will be as good as him. I know a lot of these horses, like Secretariat, has never reproduced himself, so it is a crap shot, if they'll do it or not. But hopefully he'll keep it going. But we're still on the Pharaoh tour. We're still living the dream. And we went and saw him the other day. He looks terrific.
Yeah, why wouldn't he?
Yeah, he still looks kind, and but you know what? Like, as being as a stallion, and now he's turned into this, this breeding machine. He's still the sweet, kind horse that he's always been. He hasn't changed at all, so it hasn't changed him.
So he's still a gentleman, is what you're saying? He's still a gentleman.
Well, we thought we'd go over there and we're going to go visit Johnny Manziel or something. But he's just.
Nice.
He's like Aaron Rodgers, just a true gentleman.
There you go. Good bets. Good barnside manner. I got you. Bob Baffert with us here on Tiki and Tierney, CBS Sports Radio. Bob, I don't know if you've ever played this out in your head, and I'm not even sure if you can answer this, but if you could try, I'm curious where you'd go. If you had a race and you can pit, say, Silver Charm, War Emblem, and, of course, Pharaoh on their best day, do you think, against each other, do you think that definitively who would win?
Oh, American Pharoah would have creamed them all.
What? Creamed them? Okay.
Creamed them.
Wow.
That wouldn't have been close. No, he's so much better.
That's interesting.
Actually, the one that would have given him a run with Point Given, who did not win the Derby, he was always my best horse, and it would have been a good race.
But he won You're talking about Point Given.
Preakness and Belmont.
Who won the Preakness back at 01. Gotcha. Interesting answer. There you go.
I was reading something as we all, us novices on this side of horse racing, try to handicap this. And they're talking about Nyquist, who is the favorite, and your horse, Mor Spirit, have what they call tactical speed, meaning they can pick it up whenever they want. Will that ultimately be a factor as we look at this Kentucky Derby?
Well, it's very important. Nyquist is going to be on the lead or close to it. So when you have 20 horses, the horses that have tactical speed, it's a big advantage because they're not going to be in traffic. They're going to be out of the way. The horses that come from behind, they have to do a lot of maneuvering, and there's a lot of. They get back there, they're getting a lot of dirt in their face. Horses are stopping. You start making your move. There'll be horses getting tired. For some reason, the Kentucky Derby, horses, by the time they get to the half-mile pole, 3/8, they're already tired. And these are horses that are fit. But they're tired. They stop running. The adrenaline gets to them. They just fall apart. And so that you don't want to be, if you're a horse that comes off the pace, you have to make sure you can't get stopped. Mm-hmm. You can't have a horse stop in front of you or whatever, and it's crazy. Around the first turn, a lot of stuff goes, but the first 200 yards is like the start of the Indy 500. There's a lot of stuff can go bad on you at the beginning.
Yeah. Bob Baffert with us here, Tiki and Tierney. So, Bob, obviously, you pay attention to this, I'm sure, maybe as far out as a month away from the race, track conditions, weather patterns. I mean, we've just been getting smashed here in the Northeast with it's rained for 9 straight days, it seems, in New York and New Jersey. What's the track going to be like?
I think it's going to be fast. We're supposed to get maybe a little rain, but this track can handle a lot of water, so it's water's its friend. It can handle it. I think it's going to be great.
Okay, all right. A little prediction for the race here? I mean, do you put yourself on a limb and say, I don't know, give us, listen, I'm always going to bet when Bob Baffert's in, Bob's going to get some of my money.
I think,
what do you see?
I think we're going to be right there. It's like, I think Exaggerator is probably and those are the horses to beat. And then the rest of it, it's a toss-up. It's pretty wide open, really. It's wide open.
Always an honor. Bob Baffert, have a great
All right.
run and have a great day tomorrow. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.